Hello, friends, and welcome into Seattle Seahawks Today. I am Tom Downey, here to break down some rumors and news around the NFC West champs. And yes, we'll talk about some playoff seeding and scenario stuff. Before that, though, Jamal Adams feeling pretty good about his defense right now. Both he and head coach Pete Carroll had some serious praise for the recent play of the Seahawks defense. Pete Carroll was super hyped about that goal line stand Seattle made. And you know what? There's some rationale behind this. And for the most part, we haven't talked too much about the defense in recent weeks. We've talked a lot more about the offense having some issues and the defense, having issues early in the year. But they haven't allowed more than 21 points since week 9. That's kind of important as far as I'm concerned. Here's what Jamal Adams had to say, right? They've got to start putting some respect on this defense's name. This defense is playing lights out. To me, we're the best defense in the league. You can quote that. Well, we just did, Jamal. And look, the past 5 games in particular have been really good for Seattle. 20-9, a win over the Rams. They allowed 9 points. 15 points against Washington. 3 points against the Jets. 12 against the Giants in a loss. 17 against Philadelphia. This Seahawks defense has been playing way better. Now, there is one big but involved here. Namely, those are not good offenses. The Rams might have a good record. The offense has not been very good this year because Jared Goff is bad. Washington, with no Alex Smith, horrible. The Jets, disastrous. Philadelphia, not great, especially with Carson Wentz. The Giants, meanwhile, haven't scored 20 points in like 2 months, something along those lines. So I do feel better about this defense. To me, this isn't about Seattle having the best defense in the NFL. I don't think that they do. What this is about, though, is the defense being better and the defense being good enough to allow you to make a run at the Super Bowl, especially if the offense gets back on track. So what is your guys' confidence level right now in this defense? I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if you hit that ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and let me know. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your confidence level in the 2020 Seattle Seahawks defense? Speaking of the defense, as we mentioned before the game on Sunday, Damon Harrison's done. Pete Carroll confirmed the Seahawks are going to release Damon Harrison, let him potentially go play somewhere else. Harrison did say that he wanted to play somewhere else and that he was hoping that was going to be the case. Now, he may not find a team out there, and both sides in the end is going to be on fairly decent terms. Harrison knows they're going to keep playing Brian Monet, who's been better than Snacks this year. Wow, who saw that one coming? Certainly, I did not. But I think in reality, Seattle was not going to play Harrison. If he wants out, you don't want to keep a disgruntled player there. Pete Carroll in his first interview kind of made it seem like Harrison was going to retire. Harrison on Twitter made it clear he doesn't want to yet, but we'll see what ends up happening. In terms of finding a veteran stopgap, one-technique run clogger, Harrison can do that for you. He's not the same guy anymore, and I think that was pretty clear. Maybe it ends up being and looking better next year with a full camp and offseason, but it's disappointing. It's not the end of the world, but it's not the way I think most of us thought this edition was going to go for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code you see on screen, Seahawks125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. And for the rest of the calendar year, we can hook you guys up with a Seahawks jersey. Email us, Seahawks@chatsports.com to claim. We got some Russ ones, got some Jamal Adams ones for you. Email us if you just have questions or if you've already signed up and deposited, Seahawks@chatsports.com. Now, there is one condition that goes along with this new deal hookup from BetUS. You do have to place a bet on the Seahawks 49ers game, $20 or less, so you can just put down $5 on whatever you want to bet on in the game. Could be any prop bet, the spread, the over-under, just outright win. Just go bet on Seattle money line. You'll end up making some bet there. I put it as 20 or less, mostly because I don't want you guys to spend all of your money on one bet and then suddenly be broke. Pace yourselves a little bit there. So email us, Seahawks@chatsports.com, if you want in on the Seahawks jersey deal. Now, I do want to spend a little bit of time here, only a couple graphics, keep them up full screen for a while. The playoff picture for Seattle. In a very unusual year, there have been 4 teams of the now 7, reminder, who have clinched a playoff spot. However, none of those seeds are set in stone. Now, we know Seattle can finish no worse than 3rd because the NFC least is a thing this year. But they could get 1, 2, or 3, and then as a result have a bye or end up facing a wild card team, probably the Rams, Bears, or Cardinals, but Bucks still alive in there too. Here's the path for Seattle. They can still get the number 1 seed. In order to do that, they need a win, right? They also need a Green Bay Packers loss and a Saints loss. If Seattle can get into a tie with Green Bay, they will be in a position to claim that number 1 seed. Now, meanwhile, they can also finish with the number 2 seed with a win and either a Packers loss or a Saints loss. If Seattle loses a game or if the Packers and Saints both win, just like they are right now, Seattle will stay in that number 3 seed. And getting that number 1 seed would be extra important for this organization because it's the only seed with a bye in the playoffs. Historically speaking, the 1 and 2 seeds, not a huge surprise, but the 1 and 2 seeds have often had more success in the postseason. The tricky part here, Packers play the Bears, who are still going to be fighting. Saints play the Panthers. Do I think both of those teams lose games, Packers and the Saints? Probably not. Could one of them? Absolutely. So I want you guys to predict here for me. What seed will the Seahawks end up getting? It's 1, 2, or 3. Those are your options. So get your votes in just a simple 1, 2, or 3 is all I need from you guys in the comments section. I do want to mention some more players here in light of the Seahawks' good win over the Rams, or big win over the Rams, excuse me. Greg Olsen, he made a return and played a little bit. Limited usage for Greg Olsen, which I'm pretty much on board with. 12 snaps for Seattle. By comparison, Will Dissly had 35, Jacob Hollister had 33. And outside of 1 rep, all of those were passing situations for Greg Olsen. I think that makes more sense. If you're going to put him out there, you're not going to have him block. Frankly, I think Will Dissly's a better blocker outright. And the Hollister might be as well. I think you might see Olsen get more reps next because they kind of bring him along a little bit slower. But in the end, the tight ends weren't used all that much. They actually finished with very similar stat lines. Greg Olsen, 1 for 15. Will Dissly, 3 for 17. Jacob Hollister, 2 for 17, but also had an interception. So for the time being, at least, I'll list Will Dissly as tight end 1 for this team, then Hollister, then Greg Olsen. I think you'll see a much closer to 33 percentage-wise split between Dissly, Hollister, and Olsen. Sounds like Parkinson will be inactive again this upcoming week for Seattle. This game matters for them. They have to win this game to try and get a higher seed. That's something Seattle absolutely wants to have happen. But they also got to figure out who's actually the best tight end on this team. So you guys can answer here for me. Type O for you think it's Greg Olsen. Type D, it's Will Dissly. Or type in H for Jacob Hollister. Look, I was wrong on the Will Dissly pick. He's been way better than I ever thought he was going to be. But let me know what you guys think. O, D, or H down there in the comments section. I also want to mention the play of DJ Reed, who we mentioned early on when we first kickstarted this channel. I liked the pickup. I didn't think he was going to play this role, though. I didn't think he was going to be this good either. He continues to play a massive role for this team. He's going to start the rest of the year. Quentin Dunbar, he's out for the season. And DJ Reed has fared way better than I think even DJ Reed in Seattle thought he was going to end up playing. Week 16, targeted 5 times, allowed 3 catches for 24 yards. That's pretty good. This season, though, admittedly, not a full starting slate, but these are awesome coverage numbers, guys. 65%, has allowed just 358 passing yards, 1 touchdown compared to 2 interceptions and 6 pass breakups. DJ Reed has been really good for this team. And they claimed him off of waivers when the Niners cut him because he was banged up. He got healthy, and he has been a huge factor. I mean, this team has been decimated. Trey Flowers, Quentin Dunbar, Marquise Blair. Shoot, guys, those are legitimately speaking, the plan was That is 3 of your top 5 corners. 3 of your top 4, excuse me. Those were supposed to be your guys. Shaquille Griffin's the only starter out there. Ugo Amadi was a backup. DJ Reed was a backup. Seattle has lost 3 of their top 4 corners, and yet here they are, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, having a much better season than we anticipated. The defense has rallied. That is a big deal. And DJ Reed, and the coaching staff too, of course, deserve some credit there. Now, as the season winds down, we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep you guys covered on rumors, news. Maybe we'll be live during the Seahawks playoff game. People are talking. We'll see what happens there. We'll have plenty of off-season coverage as well. So if you want to join the #1 Seahawks YouTube channel out there, hit that big red button and subscribe today. I do want to recap, as we've done many a time this year, Darrell Taylor. He might actually get to play this year, and I don't want to give false hope, but that's where we're at right now. Pete Carroll says Taylor is going to try to practice this week. Now, he, of course, has not played this year, had surgery to fix a stress fracture in his leg, but having a chance to play this year and practice this week means I'm saying there's a chance. I don't know if he's going to, but it'd be a nice little addition down the stretch in what in reality would probably be a pass rushing only role to get the Seahawks top draft. Remember, they moved up in round 2 to get him. They did not think he was going to miss the entire season. That's been a bit of an unfortunate break for Seattle. But the team's second round pick, or not top pick, their second pick, excuse me, I'm forgetting Jordan Brooks like an idiot. Second round pick out of Tennessee, Darrell Taylor. If Seattle can get anything out of him this year, I think that'd be a nice little boost. Now, Jaron Reed, Carlos Dunlap, Benson Mayowa, Poona Ford, honestly, you throw in Brian Monet too, they might have had some of their best games of the year against the LA Rams. But Seattle was hoping for a bigger impact from Darrell Taylor. They haven't had anything so far. If they can get something from him by the end of the year, that'd be a nice little boost for this organization. And as a reminder, folks, email us, Seahawks@chatsports.com, if you want in on that jersey deal I mentioned earlier on in today's video.